In this example, we're tasked with finding a five number summary for a set of data. This particular set of data is the sales quantity of cinnamon rolls sold by Cinnabliss during the 15 days of a town fair. So what is a five number summary? It's a measure of the variation within your data set. And I won't bury the lead. Scroll down real fast. The numbers that make up your five number summary are the min, or the smallest number in the data set, the max, which is the highest number in the data set, your median, which is your approximation of the middle of the data set, and then the first and third quartiles, which are essentially the medians of the two sides created by the median. You can think of the first quartile as the spot in the data that is bigger than 25% of the other returns, and the third quartile, three quarters to 75 cents, is the spot in the data that is larger than 75% of the other returns. So we need to go through from those returns that we have up on top and figure out what is the five number summary here for Cinnabliss. So starting off, we have their sales quantity for this fair that ran for 15 days. As you can see, some days were more productive than others. We're going to have to find the median in this thing eventually, so I think we are best off starting by reorganizing our numbers into ascending order. I'm going to go through, look around, and I see that in this case, 36 would be the smallest number that we have in the data set. I can look through and see the next number after that is going to be 38. So if I wanted to do this the long form way, I could just keep going through and finding the next biggest number until I worked my way all the way up to the largest number, which is 90. But that's very time consuming for me, and I'm using Excel, so I want to use the sort function. So I'm going to say this is equal to sort, open a parenthesis. The array is the data we want to sort, which is all of these returns that we have over here in row 5. So B5 to P5. I'm going to hit comma. We don't need a sort index for this, so I'm going to hit comma one more time to switch to the third part of this function. And the third part of the function is the order. We got ascending or descending. It tells us we're sorting these in ascending order, so I'm going to hit a 1 for ascending. And then comma one more time. And in this case, we do want to sort this by column because the numbers are each in their own respective column. So I'm going to just type in true to finish that up. And I'm going to hit enter, and Excel has organized all of our inputs in ascending numerical order now, which is going to make it much easier to find all of our data. So let's start with the two easiest things to find in the five number summary, and that is the minimum or lowest amount and the maximum or highest amount. Since we have these in numerical order, I can pretty quickly see that the minimum quantity is 36, and that the maximum quantity over here was on the final day of the fair, trying to sell out stock. They must have had a sale of 90. So those are pretty easy to find. The median, not so much. You can always use the methodology that was in a previous video where you keep crossing off first, then last, then first, then last until you meet in the middle of the data. But this chart right here gives you a set of formulas you can use to shortcut and find exactly where you need to be. The big component of this is the number of observations, the number of data points you have, odd or even. Well, this is for the 15 days the fair ran, and 15 is an odd number. So to find the median's position in the data, we're going to use this formula. N, the number of data points that we have, plus 1 divided by 2. So down here, I can say this is equal to, in parentheses, 15 plus 1 divided by 2. And I'm going to come up with 8, which means the median will be the eighth number in ascending order. What is that number? Well, I can just go up here and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Voila. We know right here, I'll make it a big old fat bold outline for us so we can easily identify it. We know that 54 is going to be the median of the data. So our median quantity sold, got to change that. Hold on a second. There we go. Is 54 cinnamon rolls. Now we've got three of the numbers that are in our five number summary. We have the min, the max, and the median. We need to find our quartiles. Well, a quartile, if you're using this methodology, is essentially the median of the two sides created by finding the median. What do I mean by that? Well, right here, 54 is in the middle. All of these numbers over here which will make orange for visual display. They're the left side of the median. And then over here, those numbers would form the right side of the median. And as you can see, that median does split our data perfectly in half. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers on the left side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers on the right side. It is exactly the middle. So now I just have to find the median, in this case, of the orange numbers and the median of the purple numbers. So scrolling on down, there are 7 numbers on each side. I can use that same formula. 7 is still an odd number. So the first quartile's position would be 7 plus 1 divided by 2. Then it's 4, which means the fourth of those purple number or orange numbers that we just created would be the first quartile. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 47 is going to be our first quartile return. For the numbers that I just identified as purple, the right side of the median, we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So using the cheat formula that we get from this table over here is going to be exactly the same thing. Equals 7 plus 1 divided by 2. It's also the fourth number of the purple numbers on the right side of the median. So what is the fourth purple number that I have listed here? 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth or the third quartile will be 63. And it makes a lot of sense. If I'm going to go and let's highlight these really fast, that was our first quartile. This was our third quartile over here. You'll see that there's 3 numbers and then the first quartile, and then 3 more numbers in the median, and then 3 more numbers in the third quartile, and then we end with the max over here. So we've got 3, we've split this into groups of 3s to see how dispersed out the numbers are. And our 5-number summary is going to be everything that we just found. The min was found way up in the beginning. It was 36. That was the least amount of cinnamon rolls that they sold on any single day during this fair. The first quartile we just determined over here was 47. The median we determined up above was 54. And the third quartile was 63, found right here. And then finally, the max we found up on top was 90, it was the highest number that we have in our list. So somebody looking at this right now can say, on average, they sold about 54 cinnamon rolls a day. Cinnamon roll sales varied all the way between 36 and 90 over those 15 days, but on most days in the main half of days, sales were somewhere between 47 and 63 cinnamon rolls. So you get a measure of a dispersion. Somebody was like, yeah, I mean, it's totally possible to sell 85 cinnamon rolls in a day. Well, not really. The third quartile is 63, and 75% of days sales would be below that number. It's very unlikely that they sell 85 in a day. So they could use this statistical method to figure out what is their expected sales quantity, and that will help them judge how much they have to buy and all the materials needed to make cinnamon rolls. So that is the long form process by hand of how you find a 5-number summary. Identify your min, your max, move to your median, and then your first quartile is the median of the numbers on the left side, and the third quartile is the median of the numbers remaining on the right side. But you can use a variety of Excel functions to make this much faster. And I have it down here at the bottom. We can use the min, the median, the max, and the quartile.exc functions to determine what our 5-number summary is. So I'll go with the easier ones first here. We'll start with the min, the smallest number. And that function in Excel is the min function. So equals min, highlight, open a parenthesis, excuse me, and then go up and highlight all of your data. So let's go to the original set of numbers that we used when we sorted. And going through this, I'm going to highlight everything in row 5. So we have min of B5 through P5, and it does indeed identify that 36 was the smallest number. For the max, the formula is the max formula. And all you're going to do is equals max, open a parenthesis, and highlight that same array of data. So let's go back through and highlight everything in row 5 one more time. Scroll on down to make sure everything jibes down here. Close the parenthesis, hit enter. And we're confirming above that our max is 90. We did the median in a previous video. It's the median function. So equals median, open a parenthesis, highlight all of the data that you have listed here. And you'll have the median of B5 through P5. And you can see our median matches the way that we identified it by hand. And now we go to the quartiles. So there are two quartile functions in Excel. I'm going to start by typing equals quartile. And if that's visible down here, there are .exe and .inc. It stands for exclusive and inclusive. If you use the exclusive one, it doesn't make a new number for the quartile, which is exactly what we want right here. So it's going to be quartile.exe. If you use the inclusive one, it treats the median or the quartile that you had like a brand new number in the data set. So instead of up here finding the answer to only the seven orange numbers, for example, it would find the seven orange numbers. And since it's inclusive, also the median. It would find the median of those eight numbers instead. We don't want that. We just want the numbers that were on the left side of our median. So I'm going to use quartile.exe. I'm going to open a parenthesis, and there's two things I need in here. Firstly, the array, and then secondly, what quartile I'm looking for. Well, the array is exactly the same. It is still all of the numbers in B5 through P5. And then scrolling back on down to our formula, I'm going to hit a comma to move on to the second component of this function where I ask for the quart. And as this thing says right here, you type a 1 for first quartile. You can actually find the median this way by typing a 2 or a 3 for the third quartile. Well, I'm looking for the first quartile, so I'm going to have a 1 here. And it tells me that my first quartile number was 47, which matches the way that we found it by hand. For the third quartile, same exact function. We're going to put in the same array and everything else. The only difference is now instead of having a 1 for the first quartile, I'm going to type in a 3 for the third quartile. So this is going to equal quartile.exe, open a parenthesis, highlight our array, just still all the stuff in row 5. Come back down so you can see what I'm working on here. Hit a comma, and we're asked this time for the third quartile, so I'm going to type in a 3. And 63. Everything matches. So a 5-number summary is a useful way of just giving a quick visual inspection of the variance that you have in the data to make a useful decision about how much range you expect to have in the returns that you're going to see in the future, and also what is roughly the average amount and what is the range that you're going to have, as they call the interquartile range, between the main half of the data.